And 28 players.
5:30. I'd like to call the Shoreline Fire RFA to order. Could you please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Beatrice, could you call roll for us, please?
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes.
Tyler Byers,
Present.
Eric Admin,
Present.
David Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Harris. Commissioner Rod Evelyn.
Present.
Commissioner Rick Knight,
Here.
Commissioner Josh Pratt,
Present.
Commissioner Bart Sullivan,
Here.
Commissioner Rich Webster,
Here.
Commissioner Lisa Woolen.
Here.
Anyway, we can turn her up a little bit, Beatrice. Okay, if not, no big deal. I can barely hear. Before we go into public comment, I'd like to take a minute and pause here and introduce our newest commissioner for position 5. This is Rick Nye. He will be joining us. He's running unopposed on the ballot, so he will be here permanently, but right now he's appointed. This is Tyler Byers, Rod Evelyn, Chief Cowan, Dave Harris, Josh Pratt, Eric Admin, Rick Webster, and Barb Sullivan.
Hello.
They'll be
Welcome.
tested at the end.
Thank you. Another Rick.
Do we have any public comment? Anders and Doug Lozier, anything?
Not today, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
One point, did we call Lisa Warren as president?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Consideration of the agenda, Chief.
I'd like to add a second bullet item to old business, Station 57 capital upgrades for discussion.
Okay, and then.
I have one item to add.
What's that, Eric?
Printed agendas or printed packets.
Under new business?
Sure,
Okay.
just for discussion.
All right. Under new business, I'd like to also add board attendance and communication. And if there is no other adjustments, we will approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Eric. It's been motioned by Commissioner Webster and seconded by Commissioner Admin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Approval of the past minutes from our May 15th meeting.
So moved.
Eric?
Okay.
Josh? Was that you that seconded?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any additions or changes or corrections or anything? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Correspondence, Chief, is there anything?
No,
Standing agenda warrants, motion to approve.
I'll move to accept disbursements in the amount of $3,564,990.76.
A motion by Commissioner Sullivan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What's that?
You can't hear me, Beatrice?
No, now we
No, we
can.
can't.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner report, Commissioner Harris,
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Pratt,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Admin.
No report.
Boy, you guys are right. Commissioner Webster.
Only thing I wanted to say is that the pancake breakfast was a great hit for the community and great turnout, wonderful weather, and staff and all the volunteers did a wonderful job.
And Commissioner Webster got really good at cooking pancakes. Was coaching.
Was he timed?
With somebody's help.
That's awesome that you guys were able to help. Commissioner Sullivan.
No, just that, the Chelan conference was really good this year. Got quite a few takeaways that, let's see, I'll be passing on to the chief, and, someone from the AG's office spoke on public records as an advocate for the agencies, which was really informative. Nice to hear.
Refreshing that somebody.
Yes, refreshing, that's a perfect word.
Yes.
So,
Tyler?
I'll just tack on to Commissioner Webster's. I've gotten reports from quite a few people about the pancake feed. Apparently this year was the best year that they've been to, so good job on all that, guys.
Commissioner Heveland?
No, I just second what Barb said, that the speakers were, I'll say, better than average for the spring seminar, and especially the one from Kate, who was telling us about, I think it's hints, shall we say, about how to handle some of the myriad of public records requests we're getting and things to watch for. And she's very sympathetic. We aren't the only one getting bombarded, but it's a problem for a lot of different places. Nice to know that they know what's happening at least. It will go from there. That was the best talk I've heard about that subject in a long time.
Commissioner Woolen, do you have anything?
No report.
Okay. And again, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Nye. I'll echo what Barb and Rod have said about the conference. It was wonderful. I attended the appreciation picnic on the 31st. It was quite wet, but my grandson had a ball. He says, "Grandma, I got him 3 times, dunked him 3 times." And the academy graduation was phenomenal. So I was glad that we could attend. Other than that, we'll move on to strategic plan discussion. Chief?
One thing I would note, and it's in my report, and I believe Chief Hochstein's as well. We're excited that we were able to choose a architect and engineering firm to help us with some of our longer and bigger projects. And I believe that they're going to be meeting this next week to start talking about the prioritization of some of those projects and stuff. So that was it was nice to be able to get this one done and so forth. It was a fairly competitive process. It was, we had, was it 8, I think, 8 firms?
We put it out to 75 firms. We had 8 proposals, all very talented firms.
And the top 2 are ones that we've worked with, both here, myself, in previous jobs, but also currently between Buffalo and Shoreline. With the top 2, could have easily gone with either one of them. We ended up with choosing to go with TCA, which is one that we have more of an extensive relationship with for a number of different reasons. But Rice Fergus Miller was the other one that was in the top 2, which we are using over at Bothell, and I've used in a previous job as well. So again, both top-notch firms, but we ended up with continuing our relationship with TCA.
Yeah, I have a question on that report. Just on the heading of strategic planning, are we doing like an explicit strategic planning process, or why are these items under strategic planning?
We've had that as a standing agenda item for quite some time now, in the fire district. It's transferred over to the RFA, but that's a good question of like, what would you guys like as a new RFA board? Would you like to see that as a standing agenda item? I left it on there to make sure that we were continuing to think about our strategic planning. We had started a strategic planning process with community involvement, but then when the ILA and then the RFA started with North Shore, we paused all of that because it didn't make sense to continue on developing a strategic plan when we didn't know what our future was going to potentially be and change. And so we're still kind of in that limbo phase right now even. And so I don't want to lose sight of it, but at the same time, there are some things that we're doing now and then that are hitting this agenda item. It's just not, we are not in a active strategic planning process.
So in your strategic planning, does that include like apparatus in the future and building, future building? And
Yes,
so
it includes everything.
okay, so it should.
It's not just capital projects either. It's, you know, once we get back to that, it's developing a full strategic plan for the organization and all that. We have focused on, say, like our capital replacement strategies, things like that. That would be part of a strategic plan. And we need to continue working on those things, obviously, because, you know, whether we're developing a full strategic plan or not, we still have replacements that we have to, and replacement schedules that we have to meet. So typically, a lot of our capital replacement strategies come out in our budget process as we look at the next year or two. But it is something that certainly falls under that agenda.
Yeah, there's also grants available if we look far enough in the future and things, you know, capital. So I'm sure you're aware of that. So I'm just wondering if that's part of the process.
Thank you for bringing it up, because it is, I mean, this is an opportunity if you want to continue to see that as an agenda item, because there are certain things that I do brief the board on that are kind of relevant to a strategic planning process, but we're not in an active one. We could rename it even, or capital projects updates or things of that nature, but I didn't want to lose sight of the fact that I do want to get back to an active strategic plan at some point.
Yeah, just to me, it seems like the term strategic planning encompasses more than like RFQ for architectural permit. It seems to me more like, you know, what is our future plan for station replacement, or our future plan, you know, our big picture, long-term planning. And it seems like it would be nice to have that articulated in a plan.
I agree. And we have done a lot of the capital replacement. We do have some schedules on that and so forth. It's just, we're focusing on that piece, but not the entire strategic plan. So we could replace this with potentially capital projects update, or even something of that nature, until we get back to a point where we can do a full strategic plan.
I mean, you can still call it, I mean, as long as we understand kind of the scope of what you intend to report on there, it's fine. But, you know, just in the interest of, like you're talking about some of the things that come out in the budget process, it might be, you know, not super high priority, but it might be more kind of easy for people to understand without having to understand the ins and outs of the budget if they had. It's just sort of some policy statements that were encompassed in, like, we intend to replace these stations in these many years, or here's how we intend to replace our apparatus in the future, or here's what we're planning on doing with, say, Bothell and the RFA, or et cetera, you know, some of those broad stroke things.
It is on our list.
Okay.
I don't want to falsely promise. It is something that we're actively working on, and we're hoping to actually, as the latter part of this year, you know, with an architect and engineering, we can actually, part of the architect and engineering that we need to do is not only look and prioritize what projects we want to look at, but the scope of that and responsibilities, and then get accurate budget estimates. That's one of the things that, you know, especially with the changing times now, we have, you know, been burned by, you know, rapidly changing pricing on some of these projects. So that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at doing, and developing a document that identifies the next 20 years of not just apparatus, but equipment and stations and, you know, It's just, right now, we've got a spreadsheet, but I'd like to build out a full document. Just have to-
Okay, thank you.
Okay, keep in mind, chief, sleep's overrated.
I'm just gonna delegate to my chief of support services to. Actually, he and I we are gonna be working in conjunction on this, so.
Okay, moving on to district activity reports. Let's start with Chief Callens. Anything for Chief Callen? Comments, questions, concerns?
You have one thing to add, but I'll wait. There's a question first.
So, Kim, can you clarify? So I was kind of curious about this. We have RFA activity highlights. And we have more RFA activity highlights, then we have district activity highlights. And I was just kind of curious, like, what is falling under what? Is this?
The district activity reports, RFA, same thing. If I misspoke, if I said district activity reports.
We should probably change the agenda, the title of the agenda, I don't know. Maybe department activity reports or.
Oh, there we go. I was reading off the agenda, but we're only doing it once.
Okay,
So this is where the group comes together, is when we thought that would best.
sure.
So you're changing the title?
Change the title to like department activity reports. Or RFA activity reports. That works.
Not thinking, just reading.
I was just trying to understand the different reports.
It's a work.
Do you think you should have more
I will-
people there, Eric?
I will note that, for the meetings, I try not to list all the meetings, I'm trying to list the meetings that I feel are maybe relevant that you should know about, the more important ones or the more poignant ones. Just. Be concise.
Okay, so aside from changing the title on the agenda, is there anything for Chief Callen?
The one thing I wanted to add was, and you guys have already, a couple of you already talked about it, like with what you found out from Melissa Drury, at the conference. I had an opportunity to talk to Cindy Reed, our rep at the Pancake, at the open house. She came by, and I have a pretty good relationship with her on a personal level. We've worked together on a number of things, and I've helped her when she's asked for help supporting legislation and so forth. And I did bend her ear. I've bent her ear a couple of times now. But I'm like, I'd really like to work with you about two things, about working on, public records request was the big one, and she has been a supporter of reform in the past, but it has been kind of some ugly timing because of some of the things that have occurred. I won't get into the details, but there was some, there's a bunch of turmoil down at the legislative bodies when they were getting public records requests and responding and so forth. So I just wanted to kind of pile on to a couple of the comments already there, that I'm going to try and work with her to develop some legislation.
That's great.
It is absolutely an uphill battle though, because there's big dollars from the media companies that don't want any change, even if it's common sense, logical change, they don't want to support it. So that's the perspective we've received in the past. Anyway, that was it.
Well, we're going to Roger with it too. We've got.
Yeah, definitely.
So the more we can compile, the better. Eric.
Sorry, I'm talking a lot. Can I back up a couple items? I actually did have something to report that occurred to me
Sure.
after him mentioning conversations at pancake breakfast. So I happen to be flipping pancakes next to the fire marshal, Ryan Burgess.
Mhm.
And we were just talking about this and that, and he was talking about, I was mentioning to him that I'm going to be on city council in Kenmore next year. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And he was saying he's trying to establish a good relationship with the city of Kenmore in their building department. And I happen to already have a lot of contacts at the city. And so I suggested that I could maybe facilitate a meeting between him and the acting city manager And so I reached out to the acting city manager, Stephanie Lugash, and told her about the conversation and that he's interested in developing a good relationship there because it sounds like they have a pretty seamless operation with the city of Shoreline. And ideally, I'd like to develop something similar with the city of Kenmore. So I reached out and facilitated that. So we're going to set up a meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. I had one question, Chief, just kind of a comment maybe. Negotiations, it's been going on for a while. Is
Yes,
it nearing the end or end in sight?
we are very close to, we only have like 1 or 2 items that we're still, debating. I'm hoping that we'll have a resolution to this here fairly quickly. Maybe even over the next few days.
Oh, wow. Okay. If there's nothing else for Chief Cowan, let's move on to Chief.
I do have something. I was just gonna ask Chief if you would touch on your meeting with and presentation of Office City Council and which meeting, sorry? Third Office City Council presentation.
Oh,
Followed by 45-minute Q&A.
yes. So we are now over a year on the executive services ILA with Bothell. So they asked for a report out, with any lessons learned, successes, future opportunities, etc. I invited Chief Hochstein, Chief Orms, and Chief Cross, the Division Chief of Operations in Bothell, to also speak to try and improve perspective, especially those that are more intimately involved in those divisions that we're reporting out on. So we presented for about 15-20 minutes and then had about 45 minutes of Q&A. I felt really good about where all the questions and all the support and all that. It just went really well. I happened to have had a meeting on the next day that was already scheduled with the city manager, so we followed up that day because I really wanted to get his perspective as well, and he thought it went really well too. And he was excited about it. And so he was going to have one-on-ones with the council members to see where they're at, and we can start talking about what those future opportunities look like. So it was really, it seemed like it couldn't have gone much better. So it was exciting.
So city managers can have one-on-ones with each of the city council members.
Right.
Take their temperature.
And or potentially invite me as well to do two-on-ones, but yeah, to basically get their temperature and figure out, where's the comfort level. So, but we are continuing to work on the other piece, which is the alignment with the CBA and policies, and moving over to the vector solutions management for the staffing of Bothell. That's ongoing. I don't have a complete report out on that yet, but we have a letter of intent that's been signed by the Bothell Union and the city manager's office. The next steps are, to figure out what we're doing with our negotiations, but also to develop an MOU that the city council can then act on and align our CBA and policies. With the goal of being able to go live with vector solutions this fall in time for vacation tips and so forth.
Is that just for scheduling software, or is that learning management systems?
Just get it. We're still using Firetrix for that piece of it, but vector solutions just for the staffing at this time. It might be something because there are a lot of departments, especially in South County, are all on vector solutions for their LMS, and so I'm not sure, if we'll go there. Everybody really likes Firetrix right now, so one step at a time.
Okay, we'll move on to Chief Hochstein's report. Chief Hochstein, did you have anything you wanted to add to your report? Comments or?
Now we're gonna have a conversation about the 57 generator in a little bit on the agenda, so no additional comments.
Okay. Nothing for Chief Hochstein? Let's move on to Chief Orms. Chief Foster's.
I do have a question for Chief Hochstein.
Okay.
So for RT, is our situation where we still have a contract with Norcom? Is that our relationship?
I missed the beginning.
For IT, is our IT support still a contract with Norcom?
Correct.
Who's pointing out? Chief Hochstein? Andreas.
Spent a lot of time on
Anything for Chief Barnes? We'll get you. Okay, moving on to old business, website update.
So I wanted to give a quick briefing on this. We had subcontracted out with a company called Tweet Strategies and to update our website and do a lot of behind the face kind of work, the structure part of the website. They did really good work, but it became very problematic with some of the communications and the relationship. And so we ended up deciding to part ways and separate and ask for the money back that we had committed to the website. And we are resetting a little bit on this. And we're going to use Bruce with Gallatin to help us choose a new website developer. And we're going to kind of, in hindsight, it's always 2020, and we look back at this and we're like, you know, first of all, what are the things that we don't like about, or what do we need to improve on with the website? And then include, you know, our staff more intimately involved from the get-go, so that they're developing their skills as well as we, you know, develop the website. And so, which we kind of thought we were doing at the beginning, but really, that was some of that disconnect that occurred at the beginning, and that friction ended up being a big wedge by the time we got further down the road. We are still working with Tweet Strategies through the rest of this month as they still continue to help us out with training on social media and, you know, press releases and things of that nature. But we're not continuing on with the website work. We have it's not perfect, but we have a functioning website now, and we're gonna reset on that. So, and we're getting all of our money back.
Chief, is the original designer of the website no longer available to provide some of these services?
That's a great question. So we pivoted a few years ago and redesigned the website, updated at that time. We still have a relationship with that person, and one of our administrative staff, you know, has some knowledge about how to work, you know, and manipulate the website, and she's done a good job. We were just trying to elevate, you know, the whole website, and so we need to look at and I'm not the right person, but the structure of behind the scenes on the website is one of the things that expertise that we were hoping to get was going to get us, you know, across the finish line with something that had the structure in there. Because one of the things that's coming next year is that we need to be ADA compliant, and that will take some restructuring of the website as well. So yeah, there's some other things that are coming down the pipe. But we do want to start with, like, what do we want to see with our website, you know, first of all, and then make sure that we're incorporating in, you know, our staff in a more proactive manner.
So it's modeled after the North Shore site, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and our website, it's not terrible. It's not even bad. It's just that we were relying on her expertise to tell us, you know, what needed to be changed. That's her expertise as a website designer. And again, she does great work. It was just the relationships out. It got to a point where we're like, we need to separate out. And she agreed. It was mutually acceptable, you know, that we separated out.
I have a thought about the website, actually, only because I'm the website coordinator person for the King County Commissioners. And maybe we can have a sit down with we use a company called Streamline, and they're essentially district specific web posts. So there's templates basically, and so I fill in all the pictures, I fill in all the words, it's really great, actually, and very cheap. I think it's just a hosting cost. And it would definitely bring in the staff, each person could do something different, it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
But it's a dream to work on, really easy. Professional looking.
Streamline, you said?
Streamline, yeah, all,
Well.
I'll send you the link to the website. It's all ADA, they're well aware of all of that stuff, everything the district needs to know. The meetings, there's already a template for those, you fill in when the meeting is, a calendar pops up, it's really, really user friendly.
Well,
It's
and
really
and
good.
part of our goal too is to make sure that when we're all said and done with this, that our staff can do a lot of the manipulation
Yeah.
on the
that's
website.
Totally
You know,
possible.
not full on design work, but like adding documents, moving
Yes.
documents, things of that nature. And so,
It's really easy for all of
Yeah.
that.
So
So-
I'll keep that in
I'll
mind. We're
show-
gonna be meeting with Bruce, and that's gonna be a topic
Yeah.
this next week to decide on how we'll start moving forward with it. So I just want to give you an update on that. What we have now is functional, but it's not going to change in the immediate future until we, pivot again.
Right,
Spring
what
might
they
do
did
a
with,
good presentation. NACO 2 years ago, they were really, really impressive.
I still have the lady's name, actually.
I don't remember who she is now.
Yeah, I can
That was
look
one of
for
our
it.
NAFO speakers.
But they basically married the old website into the new one. They did all of that work. And it's very user friendly. So,
Again, she did great work. It's just difficult to work.
All right, moving on to Station 57 capital upgrades.
I'm gonna kick this over to Chief Hochstein to give a briefing on this. As you know, we've been looking at replacing the generator there. And we've had some recent developments over the last few days about, the size of the generator, what the future looks like, and then we have some potential opportunities to look at potentially expanding some things. So I'm gonna let Chief Hochstein brief this. We're not looking necessarily for a decision tonight, just to see if there's enough support moving forward with some other, and get some more information and come back to the next meeting.
All right, thank you. Just thanks. I wanna update you on the 57 generator. It's a project that we've been working on so far all year. We went out to bid on that. Just a little background to get you up to speed. We went out to bid with that project, selected Mac Miller as our contractor. They've been out doing site visits. We've got the electrical engineer that they work involved. They did a study on the usage of that electrical usage of the building, all in an effort to make sure we were right sizing the generator for the station. That all came back great for a 100 kilowatt generator.
Just with regard to the scoping, did that include any future potential upgrades to the station?
That's why I'm here.
Put a pin in that and segue for like, we'll talk about that in 4.8 minutes.
So we did talk about, right now, the existing generator doesn't work very well. Shout out to Patrick for keeping that thing going. But we did seek to build some capacity into the generator, in addition to upgrade it to be able to run all the circuits of the building, where right now the existing generator only runs partial circuits. So that was an upgrade in and of itself, and then having that cushion in there as well. Anders has been doing a great job in his project manager role and been a big help to me with a lot of the projects you see on my district activity report. We started having conversations after we got the initial quote back for the 100 kilowatt generator, and thought, all right, knowing that the station was remodeled a few years ago, but the HVAC system was a piece left out of that remodel. And knowing that we're due for some work in that area to replace that system, we went back to Mac Miller and started having some more conversations. And we recognize that a lot of state and federal law is trying to move away from using fossil fuel type systems in commercial buildings. So getting rid of your natural gas systems, right, and moving to an electric based system. What is most common out there for buildings like a fire station is a system called a VRF system. It's a variable flow system, very variable refrigerant flow. I won't try and explain all the engineering behind it because I probably would mess that up. But what ultimately it is it needs electricity to run, not gas, right? And if we lose power and go on generator, that's going to be a bigger draw and more requirements for that generator. So when we brought that idea forward, knowing that this is a project that has been on our to-do list for replacement, our existing HVAC systems at 57 are end of life. They're 33 or 34 years old currently. Moving to knowing that we're going to need to replace that and having the interest to switch to a VRF system gives us several benefits. And we can talk about that in a minute. But Mac Miller went back to their electrical engineers and determined that if we bump up to a 125 kilowatt system generator, that'll give us the capacity for the future upgrades with the HVAC system. So one ask that we have tonight is that increase from 100 to 125 is another 32,000 for that generator. That gets us our budget for 2025 for this generator project was 400,000. The initial quote came in at 381. This will push us over that. The 32,000 does not include taxes as well. But if we are approaching this very strategically, I would request that we exceed that $400,000 line item, move the generator to a larger size, and give us the capacity for a future VRF HVAC system that we will be working with our architect firm that we just developed a relationship with, just finalized that, and allow us to explore what that VRF system would look like in 57 when that's due for replacement. That system would do a lot of things for us. It would be more energy efficient in the future, moving forward than our current system. It would allow for the firefighters in individual bedrooms to control the heat as they prefer individually versus one thermostat in the hallway controls everybody. Some people like it warmer, some people like it colder, and that gets to be a big battle, right? So most of our stations are set up that you can control the temperature individually. And knowing that we have to do something with that anyways, that's worth exploring. The piece that I want to just toss out as an idea, and I'm asking for, I guess, just some agreement that this is worth exploring, is we know that we're going to need to tear into the building to a certain extent when we replace the generator. That's going to have an effect on our crews for a period of time in living in the building. We may move a medic unit down to station 51. We may look at a couple things to ease that burden on the crews. But knowing that we would have an HVAC replacement happen down the road here shortly, potentially anyways, the request to explore what this would look like with the architects and the engineers would be, what would it look like if we were able to pull off the HVAC system replacement simultaneous to the generator work. That would allow us to be tore into the building only one time. That would allow us to move crews or potentially have an impact on the crews only one time. There's the possibility it would save us money up front because, or in the overall picture, because we would have potentially, depending on who received that bid, but we could have one general kind of overseeing several of those pieces of that project, which would save money. Again, it would save money if we needed to house differently the crews temporarily. That would only have to be one time. So it would only need one electrician there to do all that work for both systems versus bringing an electrician out twice. So there's opportunities there, knowing that this is a capital project that we have to deal with potentially even in 26. If we explore the possibility to see if we can put those two projects in line together, that's something that Anders and I would like to dig into with the architects and see what our possibilities are. And I'm just trying to bring a little background and kind of what we're thinking about forward to this group and see if there's support to see if there's the possibility to align those projects together.
So really what we need is just to make sure that we're sizing the generator correctly and exceed the 400,000. And then the ask is if there's enough interest or support for us to come back with more information at the next meeting about doing the HVAC at the same time. The lead on the generator is 24 weeks.
24 to 26 weeks.
Ish. And the lead on the HVAC is about half of that. And so if we moved on it now.
That's just if we were ready to order. We haven't done our engineering
No, I
and all
know.
that yet, but.
No, I know, but at
4 to 6 weeks.
But if we took the next month or so or
Yes.
more to do those things, the alignment might be good.
That would be the hope.
The hope.
Yeah, and maybe we can, yeah, if we want to play around with that.
I think it sounds like an excellent idea. My only question would just be, is there any, at an even bigger picture, are we committed to that station and that location? Are we gonna, we're not contemplating like doing, something completely different or are there other future remodels that we're considering that would affect the structure that would make sense to maybe we were not even ready to go there, but I'm just wondering, at a big picture, are we thinking about all the big picture stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think the one thing we have discussed, if you really want to go big picture, I don't think we've discussed big picture like moving to a new location for 57. That's not on my radar, Chief. I don't know if it's on yours, but.
Oh, I'll interject and then
Yeah.
I think finish what we talked about with potentially remodel and expanding the dorms and stuff like that there. But I will say that 2 or 3 years ago, I did look at where like from a station location analysis of like where 57 would it be good to move it someplace, and I'll have to dig it up and it wasn't a complete and thorough analysis. But as I recall, moving it like 2 or 3 blocks north would kind of be a better spot for it. But moving a station only 2 or 3 blocks is really, from a cost standpoint, it's not being very fiscally responsible. So at that time, I looked at that because we were looking at a bunch of other things, and I decided that probably wasn't something that we should be, seriously looking at. We could take another look at it, but it's not in a bad spot. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I just think, I think it makes sense to invest in the station. I just think it makes sense to just consider that any kind of, if we were doing anything else that would affect how worth it is to invest it.
Yeah, I mean, the one consideration that we have discussed, and it is something we could look at with the architects, is potentially, these are all just trying to look at things outside the box, right? So let's just imagine, because we want to try and make these decisions that we're making, we want to assume that this station is going to be there another 30, 40 years, right? We just recently remodeled it. You're getting an awesome new refrigerator at 57, by the way, shortly. So progress there. So the station is good, right? But
It doesn't house as many people as.
but it doesn't house many people, right? So if we were to have an 8-car down there full time, along with an engine and medic unit, we don't have enough bedrooms. So kind of one of the outside the box ideas that Anders and I have been bouncing back and forth is, what if we were to put a second floor, because the site plan is pretty small, right? What if we were to put a second floor above on the east side of the station, above like the bunker gear rooms, in that back room? That would allow us to put like potentially the gym upstairs, expand the gym for more firefighters to use, and then use some of the space where the gym is currently to add more bedrooms, right? Down on the first floor. So what would be involved with putting stairs up, putting the gym up, putting a space, put some storage up there, or whatever it might be. That's something else we've thought about, but it's not on the immediate a list of stuff. But if there's interest in that, I mean, we are starting these conversations with the architects, and we could just say, hey, why we want to, for 57, help us figure out the HVAC system, and what would it look like to put a second floor for these reasons, to expand the dorm space downstairs.
I think it's certainly worth exploring, and at a minimum, just say, this is on our radar down the road, so let's do what we can to make what we do now integrate with that future plan. But I think it's also worth just exploring.
We certainly would want to put the systems in place with that thought in mind, so that we are properly sizing and or setting up like when you build a building, are you or an apparatus bay, are we planning on putting another apparatus bay on the end of it? Well, if you put the systems in place that you're thinking that way, then it makes it cheaper and easier to do. So
yeah,
whether we do it now or not, we need to be thinking about what
right.
that looks like.
Because I'm thinking about where the generator is currently situated, is behind where the bunker gear is stored. And so, if you're trying to do construction on top of that, but then you have a new generator.
Generator's going outside.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going
So
out
that's
behind the
gonna
trash, behind the dumpster area.
Gotcha.
Did we get through the city issues of that?
All great. We had meetings with Mac Miller, our fire marshal, Ryan Burgess, and the city. And the city they're like, we understand the site plan is limited. We understand why you need this generator. This is a vital function for the city. This is approved that you put it here, and knowing that as long as we're running the weekly test during the day, they have zero issue about it. They've given us that feedback in writing. So when we go through the permitting process, there'll be every indication we've gotten is that they'll be approving that. So with no problems. So
I would propose that you explore that option and just start investigating, do at least some scoping discussions. But I think long-term, that really makes sense for that station to have the capacity to house, the current peak hour shift crews for 24 hours, whether it be, future increased usage or it be some sort of emergency or whatever, I think, versus, the kind of not able to meet that need now. I think it makes sense to start looking at it.
Certainly would help us too with staff movement, because of the fact that they can't be there at night. We have to move people. And it causes disruption.
Right.
So
That adding a second floor could add substantially to your timeline. So that could be a future thing. We still need to get that generator.
priority is getting that generator in place, because that's not a want, that's a need. That's a have to right now.
So the HVAC
Yeah.
part, great, but don't let it impact the generator.
Copy. Yep. Well, thank you. So I guess as Chief mentioned, do we have agreement that it's okay to upsize the generator with that cost? With that cost, everybody's, any concerns about that? Great, thank you. And very excited, like Chief mentioned, we just finished that RFQ evaluation process. We've already started the emails today with TCA. We're setting, Anders and I will be meeting with the TCA architects already next week priority one, we'll be talking about some 57 projects. So we've got like 3 or 4 things we're very excited to get started with them on, but this is a 3-year on-call contract with the architect, meaning that anytime we've got a question about any of our stations, we can turn to them for their architect engineering experience and use them as an asset. And we've got a budget line for them for this year. We'll put that in the budget for next year because we'll have a lot of other work, I'm sure, that we'll lean on for them. But anyways, thank you.
So is the architect, you see it?
Correct. Yep.
To be clear, I've been leaning on them for years, and we just haven't been paying them.
It's what?
We haven't been paying them because we've got a good relationship with them. So it's nice that we're formalizing this and they're actually getting paid for some of their help that we've received.
We're gonna take them past the 1 or 2 questions here or there.
Yeah.
I've asked them. We're gonna put them to work.
Yeah.
That's okay. I remember when we were doing 63 and I was looking at those vouchers going, are you kidding me again?
Well, wait till you see them now, cost of construction.
Anyway,
Great.
let's move on then. We beat up 57's enough. New business, voucher approval. Beatrice, you're up.
Currently in your packets, historically, we have approved the warrants and under this voucher cover sheet. Upstairs near my office, and this is actually part of the resolution, but to be able to move things forward and not wait upon commissioners to go through all the invoices, to review it all before we pay, because we would be like delayed and a lot of stuff. So by resolution, we can move our invoices and processing forward quickly by having one of the executive team members sign. And then we go through King County and it gets processed. After that's done, it gets compiled, all the invoices with the cover sheet and for review, and the commissioners come in at their leisure, somewhat within a couple of weeks. So review them, sign the document as well, the cover sheet, and if there's any things that they find that there was issues or stuff that was incorrect, they'll bring it to the attention and we can always change and update things. So it seemed to work very well. I understand that North Shore has done it a little bit differently, but this is kind of our normal process. So one additional thing that we could do, because there's quite a few people that sometimes go on or via Zoom and not in person and all of that. So this voucher sheet is what you approve, but of course it doesn't really provide you with much details. Again, coming upstairs, reviewing the invoices reflect what you approved here. But we do have something that you guys would be familiar with a check register that provides the information of who we paid and those totals and stuff. So we do not want these as part of our agenda, packets. But if you are interested, I could add in this process, this check registers prior to the board meeting, separate email.
Right.
If you guys are interested, so that you can look, but again, you're not gonna get, you're gonna be approving just off of this document like we did today. You really want some details and really get in and check things out, you come and visit here and then you get to see all of the invoices.
I would like to have a copy.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Is everybody kind of just would like to have that as a separate document, knowing what you'll be approving?
It won't hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, just another
I
one.
might not read it.
I appreciated in North Shore seeing all the warrants and
And you still can, you can come anytime you want.
electronically from my home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite you should see our packets. It's like this, you would be there all day.
There can't be that many more than, I mean,
Oh, there is.
Come on
Yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah, come on up and we'll show you.
I spent over an hour the other day.
It's huge.
Is there a condensed version that could be emailed to me since I'm traveling?
So that would be the check register. So again, I'll send out in the packet the voucher cover sheets that provide, you'll be approving it, and then these check registers provide who we paid, how much it was, and it'll reflect what you're approving at this board meeting.
Very
Now, I'm gonna do it separately, we're not including this in our packets, that's quite a lot of information, a lot of public. Yeah, so,
So in other words, this is not public record, but can be requested by public. Yeah. So not be given out.
I'll just,
So procedure wise, as far as like tonight we signed, and that's new for us with North Shore. In the future, like if for Lisa today, how will she sign and approve?
so those are for the minutes.
Okay.
This you just approved by motion
Okay.
and seconded, and that was it. Nobody had to sign anything. Again, upstairs is if you want to physically sign something, there's room for 6 people.
Okay.
For the minutes, Lisa, that's why I had you all sign the approval for me to use her e-signature. So I'll pop on if she's attending via Zoom, I'll add her e-signature to the minutes. And same for everybody if you were attending via Zoom. And I'll just do it as a regular thing to send it out prior, separate email, and just saying this is gonna be what you'll be motioning to approve at the meeting, and again, feel free if you wanna come up and check out the invoices and stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. Next on the list is surplusing equipment.
To Chief Hoaxton.
So there should be a motion in your packet for request to surplus. This has been some equipment that's been replaced. We bought when our old copiers were replaced with new ones. As part of that surplus equipment, Wellness Committee was replacing some fitness equipment that is in that surplus pile, plus a bunch of other stuff. So you can see the list attached of what's there. The request, some of that we've got a couple different methods we can use to surplus that equipment to try and get the most money in return. There's some of that exercise equipment that we think potentially has a little value that we might, a little bit more value than just sending it down to the state auction, that we might be able to get some more money back for. But regardless, if we use it, the state auction or selling it through a sale, we would like to surplus that equipment, and the motion on that sheet in there is just for that request.
I move that we approve the list of surplus equipment.
I'll second it.
A motion by Commissioner Admin and seconded by Commissioner Webster. Any discussion? Questions, concerns?
I have a question. Are you selling it by the pallet load?
No, it's just combined that way to help it get down to the state.
Okay.
And we'll be pulling a few things off of that probably too. Before we send that list to the state, we're gonna look for a couple $high-dollar items that we think we can make some money off of. We'll probably pull that from the list that goes to the state and sell that in a different method. But it's just compiled that way to help transport it down to Olympia.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
Nah, it's okay.
Okay. It's been motioned by Commissioner Admin and seconded by Commissioner Webster. If there's no further discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Go for it, Chief.
But,
Printed packets, Eric.
Yeah, I want to say that I appreciate that Beatrice emailed the packet and asked who wants printed packets. And I just kind of did some math in my head. I was like, okay, this packet is 28 pages. Now it's double-sided at least, but I thought, okay, 28 pages times 10 commissioners times 2 meetings times 12 months is like thousands of pages of paper, pieces of paper. So, and some people may prefer printed packets, but I appreciate that she offers that option. And I would just say that are all the commissioners now provided with laptops?
Not quite there
I
yet.
talked to Zeb today, and he's got 4 laptops set up that are 90% set up for the shoreline commissioners. North Shore, I think you all have your commissioners have all their laptops. So we have a 5th one that's a little behind on the setup for the shoreline commissioners, but those, I was hoping they'd be ready tonight to give out to you, but Zeb wasn't quite done with them. So for shoreline commissioners, those should be coming soon.
Okay, so my question or my thought was just, we could potentially save a ton of paper if we're able to work off of our laptops, which have pretty large screens. So to the extent that that works for people, I appreciate Beatrice extending that option to just not need a printed packet. And I'm sure for some, they would still prefer a printed packet.
I think once everybody has a laptop, they can bring it up on there, bring that laptop with them.
Yeah.
I'm all for saving trees.
Yeah,
Can you
but I
make
like
notes
my
on those?
paper.
The only thing I'd always want a printed
Agenda.
definitely, because I make notes on.
Yeah, and we discussed that, and because our commissioners are waiting for these laptops, then I continue to give them for sure they're printed like normal. And I was just like, well, you guys are here too, but if you guys are stating that from the meetings from now on, you don't want that, we're good.
I think you probably still should put that email out to the different commissioners,
And so do that.
because I don't know if everybody would want that.
There's certain items that we do need printed though, like
Yeah.
full budgets and stuff like that. But,
So within the agenda, Beatrice, can we go in and highlight anything? Can we do anything to it? Like if I, looking at it at home or whatever, and I want to remind myself, I need to talk to the chief about whatever it is. Can I highlight that within the file?
annotated.
You have to have, it's a PDF, so you have to have some special software. I can do that, but so yeah, you may want to.
If we had subscriptions, that would be a software subscription, and we'd all have to have a subscription to Adobe, and then we could do that if it's a PDF. I guess we'd have to set how, the cost benefit.
Yeah, but I'll print out my thought process, I'll print out the agendas always for you guys.
Right.
That you will always have a printed agenda.
I can always just print. No.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I printed, I have some. I print out.
and I can throw your agendas like you do normally in your guys', bin ahead of time. And so when you come pick it up, like you would your packet, it will be printed there and I'll bring them here too.
Right.
And also, I want to add that I appreciate you put the location and the time in your subject heading.
Yeah, I'm trying.
It's very helpful.
It's helpful for me too.
It is.
So thank you, yeah.
Okay. The last thing on the agenda is board attendance and communication. We bring this up because there was some miscommunications on who's attending and who isn't attending, and everybody needs to be on the same page, who's got phone numbers and who doesn't, who to contact. So we thought maybe bringing this up at the meeting so everybody's on the same page. Does everybody have Beatrice's contact information? She has now got the phone that Kenmore used to have, that Amy used to have.
Mhm.
So that is the contact information for Beatrice.
So we probably have it listed as
As
board.
board secretary.
That's different than
They
the
can
number that she
still-
called me by.
That's still
today.
board secretary when it comes up.
Are you monitoring both phone numbers?
Both of them, no, it's cell phone, I may have called you from something different.
Station phone.
Yeah, conversation. So the cell phone that Amy used to have, that you
Uh-huh.
guys she'd text on and text you guys, that's now in my possession.
What's the number?
425-491-0013.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this and change the picture.
Do you want to call you on that number and other numbers? I mean, that
No,
means you have to do two.
I mean, the thing that, if someone's gonna be absent, the good thing, obviously let your chair know. And then let me or chief, know, and so that way we are aware as well, okay, this was coming late, this person's not gonna be attending and that, so both places, so you can text me on that
Yeah,
phone
that's
number that Amy used to have, you can call me at my desk phone, and you can email me.
Or
So does everybody have Beatrice's desk phone number?
Let me send you, I did send you guys I did send it in another email, but I'm gonna do one with my desk phone and that number.
Can you do a text from that?
I did text you all as a group,
Okay.
because
and
I was
it should
saying
be
it's
in
a
there,
reminder
actually,
to
I
fill
will
out
copy
your
it.
forms and come.
Yeah, okay. I can just-
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I can
Yeah.
copy the contact. information.
What is your
But-
desk?
206-533-6529.
6529.
And I tried to send you guys that email too, because it is very confusing. We have different Zooms for different meetings. We've just got a lot going on simultaneously.
6529.
6529.
Okay, I had it backwards. So those are, don't try to text her office. It won't work.
It won't.
My desk phone.
And then everybody has Chief's mobile number.
And if you don't get a response back from somebody when you're stating you're not attending, reach out again to someone else until you do,
or an email too.
or an email, well, yeah, whatever.
What's your proper title, Beatrice?
Well, I'm the executive assistant. And I'm the recording secretary.
Recording secretary? Okay.
It's easier.
I know, I should have done that.
I mean, just so that somebody knows that you're gonna be late, you're gonna be absent, you're gonna be virtual, so there's no question. What happened to Rick Webster tonight? He's not here. Has anybody heard from him? And everybody's going, what? So we've got options. If
It
you
also
need,
helps us if we're potentially at risk of not getting forms, which probably won't happen with 10 people, but.
and if you need my number as board chair, it's 206-920-3748. Like most of you have it, but just in case.
And then one item.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I would take care of phone numbers and emails first. Thank you. Always keeps me on task. And the last thing that I'd like to bring up, we had an incident last meeting where everybody was saying, gosh, where's Lisa? And Beatrice said, oh, Lisa was supposed to be virtual, but Lisa wasn't virtual. Nobody heard from Lisa, so she was unexcused. I reached out to Lisa later on and said, hey, you know, we got you marked down as unexcused. What happened? Are you okay? She said, yeah, I texted Beatrice. Beatrice doesn't have any record of that text. So I guess I'm asking the board, now that everything is, we're all on the same page with communication, would it be acceptable to give Lisa the changing the unexcused to an excused absence just that one time? Anybody objecting to that? You're okay with it? Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's if there's unexcused absences versus excused absences, what is that?
You're off the board.
How many do you have?
Three in a row, and you're off the board. And that's not a board decision, that is a state thing.
State law.
So you want to make sure that somebody knows that, you know, the projected agendas. I always cover my behind me by saying, I'm going to be virtual. And if I'm not virtual, I've got an excused absence, because sometimes it happens and you can't get online, but you know you're not going to be here in person. So I've got a vacation coming up next meeting. So, I've reached out to a couple of you. Are you going to be here? Because I'm not. I'll be virtual, I hope. But if not, I've got an excused absence. So that's another way to kind of cover yourself. Text somebody. Everybody's got that method. Reach out, and text somebody. Okay, and I've said projected agenda. Speaking of.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I have something for the projected agenda.
Oh, okay. Hold on, I gotta find my paper. There it is. Okay. Yeah.
As you know, historically, we have occasionally had a badge pinning ceremony for promoted staff. It happens, traditionally it's happened like an hour before the regularly scheduled board meeting. That's included family and friends of the person getting promoted here. Chief has puts together a nice ceremony for that. And then we often have some refreshments in the entryway. What we found though is that if there's any more than a few people, it gets to be very tight to finish the promotional ceremony, have time to celebrate, and then have to dive back in here, shut the party doors, and then you guys get down to your regular scheduled business. So what Beatrice and I have heard, and Chief has heard from you, is that there's a request that for promotional ceremonies that we potentially do that on a night separate than the regularly scheduled meeting. So with that in mind, we have some members that have been promoted. The class that is just graduating from paramedic school, I'm sorry, the class that recently graduated 1 year ago, we did not do a promotional ceremony for those 6 paramedics. We have 3 more coming out of school here shortly. One that was promoted without school, and we'll end up with a MSO promotion and potentially a few others. So we're looking at 10 to 15 people for a promotional ceremony coming up. Summer is not a very good time to get people together. So we are proposing what we wanted to check with this group to see if September 11th, that's between the 1st and the 3rd meetings. If Thursday, September 11th would be would work for some or most of you. We have not contacted the people that would be part of the ceremony yet, but we wanted to throw that date out initially to see if that would be something that would work for this group.
It's kind of a touchy day.
Well, we thought that maybe there's an opportunity to kind of combine honoring, September 11th with the ceremony, but
And Chief's anniversary. Holly gonna be okay with that?
Probably.
that's your wedding anniversary. Okay. I mean, she's a lucky lady.
She'll be back in school teaching, or doing her thing, so I don't think we'll probably be doing anything super duper that night.
If that date doesn't work, we can look into something probably in October. It doesn't sound like July or August would be good for too many people being.
We can probably celebrate it on Friday or something.
Just for me, I have a standing meeting on the in between of our meetings. I have a different board meeting. It's the in between Thursday.
I know it's going to be hard to get all 10 of you here probably for a special kind of event like that. But if there's anybody else have conflicts besides? Are you guys okay if we proceed with the 11th as an event like that, and knowing we probably wouldn't be able to get everybody in?
There's 10 of us, it's like herding cats.
Yeah. Okay, Chief, does that sound like a good plan? Sure. So what we will do now is I'll work with Stroyne Kennison to reach out to all the people that would be promoted for that event to make sure it works for their calendar. If like one of those 12 could make it, we'll look for another day and come back and do this again. Does that sound fair?
Okay.
The only other question I have, this is a little unrelated projected agenda, but it is date planning. I know that the last couple of years, the open house pancake feed has been conflicting with the spring conference for the commissioners in Chelan. Did they announce the date
It's
for?
always the first week.
It's always
in
the
June.
first week in June. Okay,
First weekend,
okay,
Friday, Saturday in June.
all right.
So we want to switch the breakfast to.
I don't know, it gets to be a little bit of a conflict with Strawberry Festival,
Oh, that's
Father's
true.
Day,
Yeah.
so I was just trying to I just wanted to see if they had given you that date, but it's
Strawberry
consistent.
Festival was the same day as the pancake.
By
Feast.
Eric.
Yeah, this year it was, yeah.
Hey, whoa. Whoa. You didn't get a chance, I didn't get a chance to give you,
So you're not gonna.
I was gonna do this afterwards.
So it'd be 9 days, we close out.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't get to celebrate with you. So we have a plaque for our retirees with their badge, so congratulations again. But you don't get to skip out. There you go. I'll give you the box though, so. Sorry.
Eric, you should
No,
hold on
it's
to
fine.
it.
Oh,
Stand together. Eyes on me.
How many years, Eric?
32.
In a couple of weeks.
there's a stand in it too, if you want to put it on the table.
Eric, while we're on projected agendas, before we leave, do you have anything you want to add? Are you good with the schedule for the, at least July? Or June, excuse me.
Our next, we have a meeting on the 26th,
Correct. Think 10 more,
and then the 10th
yes,
and the 24th.
yes.
Yep, I don't have any.
Okay. Have a good
Thanks.
one. Does anybody else have anything?
Couple, so we have Adam Lamb's memorial service this Saturday. Our crews will be over there helping staff up the Bothell stations. And other fire departments are helping out, staffing up all the Bothell stations, so all the personnel could be there. Just wanted to put on your radar. This will be a difficult time for Bothell, it'll be a difficult time for some of our people here as well.
Yes.
So, and then we've also changed the leadership retreat that's this fall to the end of October. So we'll get you the dates.
Okay.
And you as the chair, if you'd like to attend.
Uh-huh.
What is it, October 27th, 28th?
October 27th, 28th, 29th.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Same place.
Clearwater. And when is the the summit?
Leadership Summit is September 30th, October 1st and 2nd.
Do we have dates yet for the fall conference, Beatrice?
I mean, we reserved
Yeah,
rooms.
yeah.
Yeah, I have to look it up.
22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay,
The registration hasn't opened.
yeah, he's
22nd,
He's got it in the
23rd,
calendar.
24th, and
Okay.
25th.
Hey.
I know I had it written down
23, 4, 5.
somewhere,
Yes.
and I knew it was towards the end of October. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I got my official calendar there.
And then on July 10th, I will be back home, but I will be in Oso. And I'm gonna try to, I've got dog training in Woodinville, and from that, I'm gonna try and jet up this way. So hopefully I'll be in person. If not, I'll be virtual. Yes, I will be here. One way or another.
No, July 10th.
July 10th, yes. Okay? It is 6:49. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Barb? Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Much
So Rick, is your,
It's a good
doing this yet?
Yeah,